Manchester City 0, Spurs 2.
Oof.
Oh, hey. I was worried after that first game of the season with my declaration that Man City under Pep had done.
I felt like you were enjoying it, not least because of the Paulinho goal as well.
Oh, come on. It's Pep Guardiola's 10th defeat against Spurs.
It's so weird.
It's a real weird bogey team to be bogeyed, isn't it?
It is. It doesn't seem to matter how kind of badly things have been going for Spurs. Well, they beat them 4-0 last season.
Yeah. This is progress in many ways for Man City, isn't it?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
You could spin it like that. I mean, it was... it's such an odd thing. Another clean sheet for Thomas Frank's men who, let's be honest, there were people, myself included, who were impressed with them against Burnley, but thought, defensively.
Burnley,
yeah, exactly, Peter. And Burnley create chances and blah, blah, blah. But the one thing I think a lot of people also thought was, with Thomas Frank in charge, his tactical nous and flexibility.
It's frankincense.
Exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
I like that.
Something for us to mull over there, even though it's not the season, but still.
Is he gonna field a new midfield every week?
Why not?
Why not?
If it works.
He's almost got the resources to do so.
But what I find funny, though, is that I'm sorry to do this to you, Vish. Ruben Amorim has taken how long to try and get a load of players to play a particular system? Thomas Frank seems to be able to get his players.
They're not his players. They're not even his players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's got them playing really effectively against PSG, completely switched it up against Burnley, then away to Man City. It's like every time they've taken to the field under him, which of course is only in 3 competitive games, you would say, they know their jobs. They look robust. They look creative. They look very good.
They look very, very good. And what I think is really impressive about it is they look way more secure. And having Van de Ven and Romero fit is a huge, huge thing. And they would have been much better last season if those two had been fit the whole time. I'm pretty sure of that.
They'd have looked a little better.
Sure. Who knows? Doesn't matter now, does it? But they are defensively excellent all over the pitch. He's got them really, really kind of well drilled already. And they're really sort of just committing to being the more energetic team. They kind of pressed City really, really well. Very, very impressive performance from all over the place, really. And they were really the antagonists, I suppose. It really looked like they were the only team that were going to win it.
And they were top of the league for just over 24 hours until Arsenal thought
they were, yeah. But I think what's really important for them this season is to essentially turn last season's league performance into a sort of fever dream, into one of those weird side notes where all you remember is that they won the Europa League. But but and then the league that they have to go and do much better in the league this season, so that just becomes an irrelevant weird thing that happened. And they're well on course to doing that already.
Yes. What did you think of Frank's tactical setup, Vish? Starts with the midfield 3 of Pape Sarr, Big João Palhinha and Rodrigo Bentancur. My goodness, they look good.
Yeah, you said the Amorim thing at the start, and I suppose what no, it's fine. But what Frank's doing is tailoring what he's done previously at Brentford, but to the squad he has.
Yes,
he's dealing with the players that he actually has in front of him, rather than the ones he wants or what he wants to fashion them into.
Which is why pragmatist is not always a dirty word.
No, but I also think that undersells what Frank does, really. But with regards to that midfield 3, they were incredibly energetic, and the fact is that they kept going right the way through. And they were harrying and pressing, but they were also making good decisions when they had the ball. Ali McCoy said quite a nice line about Pape Sarr that he thought he'd been plugged in at half-time.
Yeah.
And it really did seem that way. They just kept at it. Even Mohamed Kudus, who isn't necessarily known for his work without the ball, he worked so hard yesterday. On the weekend. And he did so in a way that, one of the hardest things for Spurs last season was the bigger picture, because it was almost like they had blinders on with the way that Ange Postecoglou wanted them to play, and it was almost like you've got to disregard everything, including the results.
Yes.
There is a reason we're doing this, and it's amazing that you can, it's not easy to do this, but now they're basically doing both. And I think Ange deserves, not necessarily deserves credit, but I think the players who played under Ange last year deserve credit, such as Bergvall and Archie Gray, but also someone like Pedro Porro and Christian Romero, 2 players who were like, God, maybe these 2 are actually rubbish. Are they just a waste of time? And they had brilliant games on the weekend.
Yeah, they did. And Brennan Johnson scored, Peter, as he tends to pop up with one. Nice to see him among the goals, but so did João Palhinha, capitalising on a rather flimsy and floppy error from the new man in goal, James Trafford.
Yeah, well, it seems weird that he would be chosen to be like the main man second game of the season and stuff. So you do sort of think, well, what's exactly going on there? Because
when he started the first game as well.
Yeah, if rumours are to be believed, they're obviously in for Donnarumma as well, which is again quite a strange decision from Pep Guardiola. Is he just trying stuff out? Does he want to simplify the way that Manchester City play? They're a team in transition, and the way that they kind of went about this game was that they're not quite there yet. It's going to take a little bit of time, and I think Pep's probably got enough in the bank to do that. But it annoys me because I predicted them to win the league, so they need to sort of
early days.
But they always lose to Spurs,
they
don't
need
they?
to,
Yeah,
to book their
it's
ideas
just
up.
factored in.
Yeah.
It was very early days. I mean, I know Luke's had mentioned about James Trafford and saying, like, is he properly ready for the Premier League?
I think, to be fair, I think we were all during that first Premier League season with Burnley.
Yes.
I think we all had our various reservations about. Well, I suppose he's very young, but there was certainly like a lot of people around this table who were a bit like, I'm not entirely sure if the hype is worthy just yet. There's clearly a lot of talent there. And bear in mind that season ended with him being replaced by Muric,
Yes.
who genuinely can't use his feet
Yeah.
beyond standing. And so they obviously, but Burnley made a decision to go with a shot stopper rather than a ball player.
Seems like Pep might be doing the same thing.
But I think the most instructive thing for Pep wasn't necessarily the misplaced pass, it was his reaction to it. If you look at like some of the best ball-playing goalkeepers in the league, let's say, David Raya is one, and David Raya has an incredible ability of forgetting his, awry pass or mistake and just... I don't know how he does it, but he's able to almost goldfish it and go again.
He probably just thinks he's an outfield player, though, doesn't he? Sort of goes, that's what happens in
Yeah,
outfield.
it's almost a bit like the outfield player thing of like, if you keep a tally in your head of positive and negative actions, you're more encouraged to do positives after you've done a negative. Whereas Trafford, after the mistake, was just hoofing the ball. Like, it would come to him and he wouldn't necessarily take a touch, or he'd play a pass that he sees early, or he would, at times just hoof the ball long and just get it as far away from him as possible. And I wonder if that actually is more instructive to Pep to say, right, if it's not Ederson, it is someone who has to come in and actually take the heat off this youngster because he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, I was surprised that, they went back in for him. But
same.
I think I got on the hype train a little bit because obviously Burnley was so incredible defensively last season and also playing well for England at age cap level and all that kind of stuff.
But he's worthy of that hype. It's just it's quite a big thing to be starting for Manchester City.
You're going from a championship club to a team that will, will feasibly be competing for the Champions League. You're going to the very top of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you went to say, Newcastle were looking at him as well. I thought, get him in there, he'll be absolutely fine. And again, it's early days. It's
a simpler task than Newcastle goalkeeper as well, with all due respect.
Maybe, okay, fair enough. I just think with the error that he made, it is almost like, and this is why some people get annoyed at kind of the more system sort of based approach or whatever you want to say, is the pass just wasn't on. And it was like, that's where you have to make that decision to go, right, well, I'm not making that, even if it is a hoof or something.
Or if you hang on to it for a little bit longer and you make a different decision, anything but that, really.
But it's always that pass, isn't it? We know how it plays. You play it kind of straight, and then that person plays it immediately out, and that's how you get out quickly.
We see it all the time where the passes look risky, and you go, actually, these are just really good footballers, and
totally,
you only notice it when it goes awry. So that will happen again to plenty of ball-playing goalkeepers this season. I think the scary thing for Trafford is presumably he's coming to Man City at this stage of his career thinking he's going to be the number one, right? I'd be very surprised if you move there to be a number two when you've established yourself. So if Donnarumma does come in, that is a real kick for him, and also for the entire Premier League, because that's like Haaland in goal. That's another monster. That's out of order.
Exactly. When people say, "Well, he's not good with his feet" and so on, it's like, but what he is good at is keeping the ball out of the net really, really effectively.
Yeah,
and
he's deliberately giving it to you so you can have a shot.
He wants to
get in your head.
He's getting his numbers up. Yeah,
exactly. And Ederson didn't mind a smash downfield, did he? I mean, do you need to be
very
that
effective.
delicate about it?
No. Well, it looks like Ederson's going to be on his way.
Galatasaray, is it?
That's one of the teams, that's looking into him. But João Palhinha pounced, and lovely to see him score. Lovely to see him at Craven Cottage for the Fulham Man United game.
Was he there?
That's
lovely.
Okay,
he made a brilliant interception as well at one point. I mean, we've been talking for a while now about what a difference he's going to make to Spurs midfield, and it's a very obvious, thing to conclude, isn't it? And it's just happen that way straight away. He's really, really making a difference in there. And I think I was very interested by City's performance when they went 2-0 down. And I think possibly it's because they've got so many new players in there. But they were so predictable. They didn't look like what we expect from Man City at all. They looked like just this sort of a normal run-of-the-mill Premier League team. There was nothing particularly kind of special about them that suggested they were ever going to score. And I, as I say, I do wonder if it's too much change at once, and perhaps Guardiola will go back to having starting Foden and Rodri if he's fit enough to start now, and those more established players, while the newer ones can bed in a bit more.
Was anyone else confused by their starting lineup? I thought it was a bit absurd to start Shirky in that position, essentially as the number 10.
Yeah.
When I thought Bernardo Silva could have done that job and done it in a less risky way. You don't lose that much attacking verve if you do that, especially if you've got Reinders behind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought I'm not going to say like it was Pep doing a Pep, but it felt a bit more like he was setting up a team for last year's Tottenham rather than. I appreciate it's only one game that had gone, but against a Thomas Frank Spurs,
That's what he said, though. It's a 2-goal improvement on last season. So
yeah, fair. That's a good point.
Baby steps. A team in transition. Vish, show some respect.
If he'd have said that in the post match, that'd have been so good.
Celebrated it.
Yeah.
I wanted a reaction. I got one.
Pep Guardiola has been rushed to hospital after accepting a 2-0 defeat as an improvement on last season.
But a word on Richarlison, Vish.
Lovely. To start with, not as technically good as Dominic Solanke, not as good a finisher as Dominic Solanke, but did all the things that gets him ahead of Dominic Solanke on the weekend.
He's better at volleys.
Yes,
especially
with sideways.
He's playing like a man reborn.
But he's working hard. The thing you could always say about Richarlison is that he works hard. He can sometimes get a bit distracted when things don't necessarily go his way, or when he's got like a bit of a vendetta against the defender he's up against.
Yeah.
But he works at his best. He works damn hard.
Yeah. Although at his worst, he's a dog with the zoomies, isn't he? There's no there's no kind of sense to it.
Like when he got in trouble for doing kick-ups.
Yep.
But that was like Solanke should be on the bench and watching that performance and be like, that's what he does better than me. And it's not necessarily that he's got a great touch or that he is able to like hold off and roll defenders. He's just a nuisance.
But Solanke's got that in him. Because Solanke's good at pressing.
No, he does.
And his work rate's good.
But it's different, isn't it?
I know what you mean.
Richarlison, Solanke is good at pressing. Solanke does work hard. Richarlison works harder.
I know what you mean.
He puts himself about more. I always think the thing with Richarlison that sometimes irks me a little bit because of just how I like consuming football. But he's so unpretentious that sometimes he plays in quite an ugly looking way. And I'm like, you definitely know the laws and you've definitely played this sport before. But did you just pick it up 3 years ago?
Yeah. You've definitely drank at this pub before. And I've seen you around here, but every time you look like you're on the edge of violence.
Yeah. Why are you drinking a pint out of a straw? Like, it's fine, but why are you doing that?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's not a thought in his head that doesn't pass across his face, is there?
That's a good way of putting it.
That's a great way of putting it.
Very good way of putting it, yeah. And look, again, great result for Spurs. It's all boding well for them. Again, early days, blah, 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 blah. You know, even Vicario getting involved, making some saves. So Spurs fans were singing, "We want Levy out," though. He can't catch a break.
They won't sing that at the end. They're definitely singing at the start.
Well, it was at the start of the game. Obviously, a tough week for them. Saw them miss out to Eberechi Eze from Arsenal. I mean, in the words of David Ornstein, Spurs did all they could.
Yes.
Although there was some of the detail before that made me wonder why maybe Ornstein ended his chat with that. But still, Eze, the Arsenal fan, Arsenal come in with a big beard. It's frustrating, but Morgan Gibbs-White, the Palace fans certainly they have their version of events as to why he stayed at Nottingham Forest. It is annoying for Spurs. I do get that, but surely the start of this season shows you that actually with Levy, I understand their gripes, and I'm not telling them not to have gripes, but from a very neutral point of view, you've got to give Levy credit for getting Frank in. And they have made a few signings.
Look at that squad. Yeah. Look at that squad. I can understand like the Levy out isn't necessarily because solely of the Eze transfer that wasn't. But it's been building up for a while.
They've been saying this for years now. Yeah,
it is emblematic of an issue Spurs fans or Grant Spurs fans have with Levy and Enoch as well. But if you look at that team, Van der Ven, Romero actually to a point, even getting in Paulinho now, Kudus, smart. And then you go into like Archie Gray, Bergvall, Solanke actually to a point as well.
Porro had a really good game and has a lot to his game.
But they're like the signings they've made in the last 2-3 years, and they're coming to the fore now. Like, I'm not saying that the Spurs fans shouldn't be annoyed with Levy. I just feel, for now, certainly because of their start, I'm a bit like, he's done a fair few good things in there as well.
You sort of get the feeling that Spurs never spend the right money at the right time.
Yeah.
That's the issue, I think, for a lot of fans.
They just hold off, don't they? When they could take that step further. I think the frustration is that they just don't quite do enough when there's an opportunity for them to do so.
But clearly getting the right manager in has been a thing for a little while now. And they've had, and again, it's very early days under Frank, but when they got him in, you just thought, experienced Premier League operator can, make a lovely meal about whatever you've got in your cupboard kind of thing. I think they're on for a good season. I don't think it's a ridiculous prediction.
Yeah, and it's important to differentiate between the Morgan Gibbs-White transfer and the Eze transfer. Morgan Gibbs-White, they probably should have got that over the line, but ultimately, Forest chucked money at him. Marinakis may or may not have had a gun to his head filming that video. and he ends up staying, and he'll probably get a bigger move or an equivalent move next summer.
After he's won the World Cup.
Exactly. That's when all the boys are moving, aren't they? Eze, he calls up Mikel Arteta on Wednesday and asks, look, are you sure you don't need me? I mean, you're dealing with a completely different thing.
I agree with you.
There are also two...
I hear your little boy's got an injury.
Well, Peter, let's move on to Arsenal 5, Leeds United 0. As I said, Spurs were top of the league until Arsenal got that 5th goal right at the end of the game. Although they would have been top on alphabetical order.
Is that right?
Okay, right.
So anyway,
quality of goal.
Let's not get into that. But yes, Eberechi Eze, as Vish predicted, looks fabulous in that Arsenal kit, unveiled before the game. Were you there for the unveiling?
I was
Jim?
there for the unveiling. It was an incredible, a really, really emotional thing. I've never seen anything like that, really. I think the only thing I can compare it to is Dan Burn, really, in like someone who's got this connection to a club that they've always supported their whole life, always wanted to play for them. Yeah, Shearer, I suppose, as well. Another one, Shearer's a way better example.
It's a more modern.
Dan Burn's a bigger example.
Fair.
Peter
But
Beardsley.
it's just the emotion of it is unreal. I've never kind of known anything like that. And obviously the kind of story around the signing when it first happened, a lot of it was about the kind of gazumping of Spurs and kind of laughing at them and all of that stuff. But the real story is this stuff, is what it means to come home, is the kind of emotion around it. And it's a fantastic signing when you take all that away from it as well, because it just adds so much depth. I think that was the real feeling from the game on Saturday was it was an expression of the depth Arsenal now have. And he's someone they've pulled the trigger on, where I feel like in previous windows they've maybe kind of kept their powder dry when they shouldn't have done. And this is a player that can give you a lot of options in a lot of different positions, and he's probably going to walk straight into the first team on that left-hand side. But it really, it is a really, really exciting and invigorating signing.
Yes. And what I liked about it, and I may have mentioned this obviously at the time when they apparently gazumped Spurs, is it's when Arsenal have so many footballers when they were young like watched Arsenal and liked Arsenal, and that is something that plays a part in cashing in on that.
And we've seen that with Mbeumo and Cunha really, really wanted to go to Man United.
So you have that. The Arsenal have that pulling power, and Eze's there for the taking, and it was as if Arsenal just went, yeah, let's use the size of this club. Let's use everything we've got. We'll have you, pal.
Yeah, even I think
they need to do that more.
I think from online to in person, that is one of the most emotional signings I can remember for a long time.
Yeah,
I thought the video they did. I know we're not necessarily like here to talk about the culture of football, but I thought the announcement video they did was perfect. I think getting Ian Wright to do it was cheating, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, he went from Palace to Arsenal.
Mr. Eze, someone said you was...
Someone says you're off to Spurs.
Someone said the transfer was dead.
But then when he comes out, and you can tell he can't believe what's going on. He keeps looking over his shoulder and shaking his head.
Expecting Daniel Levy to turn up and go, the ink's dried.
No. But there's also that thing, and it might have happened once or twice before, but nothing is springing to mind now. being able to spend a big whack of money to bring someone home is such a big thing. And given the way football is at the moment, you kind of just, certainly I'm speaking as a Manchester United fan here, you throw money at things, they come, you're excited for the player, and you hope the attachment is there. As you said with Kunyurin and Bumo, they were Manchester United fans growing up. But with this, there's so much more to it. The roots are already there.
Yeah.
The love is already there. And it's just like the fact that he might be the final piece as well. It just made... I didn't believe Arsenal were going to win the league. And I still am sticking with my shout of Manchester City.
Okay.
But it feels like even just on the grounds of emotion that they are closer to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The universe is working in some way in their favour.
Yeah, it's made my picks slightly less of a banter pick.
and like you said though, Marcus, that this was an opportunistic sort of signing. I think they probably would have wanted to lose a couple of players before they brought in such a huge amount of money, but the injury just made it clear that they just need to be. And that isn't that not a great situation for Arsenal to be? They've got a bit of cash floating around, and they can just go in when they need to.
Yeah, so apparently the outline for this deal was actually agreed on the 10th of August. So it wasn't as... it wasn't... They didn't swoop in and just go, what's in that contract? We'll do the same, but just with a different club's name on it.
It was more to get your finger out.
Exactly, yeah. And I think they were trying to sell some players first, but the injury and the fact that he was just about to go somewhere else. I think genuinely that made a difference as well. Apparently he was calling around his friends in the England squad that play for Arsenal, obviously.
Right.
And trying to... Yeah, exactly, very much that. And I think they were impressed by that and impressed by...
Luckily none of them play in his position.
Some of them sort of do. But yeah, and apparently they were also impressed with how much Viktor Gyökeres wanted to join the club. And I think that gives you an energy, doesn't it? And that energy was very, very present at the game yesterday.
Well, let's talk about Gyökeres. He scored his first goals for Arsenal. The first one, I thought, he looks like a tank.
Yeah. So there was a point in the first half where a ball, Leeds made a mistake and the ball came to him really quickly and he slashed at it.
Yes.
And that would have been a GIF by now, if it's not already. But that would have been the story from it. Yeah, he didn't realise how much time he had, and it was really, really bad. And there's a sense, I think, that him and his teammates haven't quite gelled yet, and that's understandable after 2 games and probably not that many training sessions. But his first goal was like, I'll just do this one myself.
Scoring.
Yeah. He is a psycho when it comes to that stuff.
Looks like it.
He hits that ball like it's kidnapped his family.
The penalty as well was well dispatched.
Did you see Pascal Strike? Who's like, solid defender. He went to show him basically he just went to like stand him up.
Well, you know where he's going.
Yeah, but they started running and he went, I do have a family. Yeah. there was a little bit of
go on, say it.
A bit of like early Drogba.
Okay.
Do you remember Drogba's first season at Chelsea? He was a bit all over the place. He'd obviously just come from Marseille.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was a bit all over the place, and then every now and again he would just like, what if I just ran really quickly at one of them?
What if I use everything I have and am?
Yeah.
It's pretty
what
effective.
If my entire force, if force equals mass times acceleration, I've got 2 of those things.
Damn right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, of course, he got the penalty because 15-year-old Max Dowman won the penalty. Jim?
What a fucking loser. Playing football at 15.
He went down very softly.
He's
a little diver. He's a little diver. A little diving boy.
Of course he did. He's tiny.
Honestly, he went down like a child. It's pathetic.
Do you know what, right?
He did do that.
If I was one of the Leeds defenders, I would say to him, I say, look, I appreciate you've just, you're second youngest player to ever play in the Premier League. They may not have known it at the time, but it's written in front of me. I'll be honest, I would have just said, look, pal, I am just going to boot you up in the air. I can't be embarrassed by a 15-year-old. Do you know what I mean? I know you can't really do that so much these days, but you're just like...
I know your dad's a mate of mine, but I'm going to have to kick you.
But like,
it's my livelihood as well.
Can you imagine him coming on the Leeds defenders? You're already a few goals down. The game's only going one way. You're just like... I can't have this lad embarrass me.
Yeah.
I wonder what the football equivalent. Like when if you're on a bus and you've got 15-year-old kids who are listening to their music out loud on their phone, you're like, that's a bit annoying.
Yes.
What are the annoying traits of a 15-year-old in a Premier League game?
He was carrying his phone.
Yeah.
Right.
He played mainly in Crocs.
Yeah.
He's just got the little earbuds in, listening to music the whole time.
Yeah. And they're back to string now, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. That
teammates can't get messages to him and everything. But there we are. So yeah, I mean, incredible from him. He looked great.
It did, yeah. There was a point where Declan Rice absolutely should have shot, but it was like, I want to put him through.
Yeah.
Right, and,
Amazing.
Amazing balance as well.
Yeah. Got a couple of injuries, Saka and Odegaard, although not as bad as first.
Apparently
There's
not
always
that bad.
something, isn't there? There's always
Six injured players
Yeah.
already.
Already.
Ridiculous. But apparently those two aren't that bad. And actually, for me, the story of the day was the depth. So Saka goes off, Madueke went over to the right and looked really, really good there.
Yeah, immediately, already had a better game than when he was on the...
absolutely.
As
and
we all know, but
Winieri came on for Odegaard and looked really, really at home, took responsibility, was really good in that role that I think he's going to play in a lot more that season. And then, of course, you've got Eze, not even in the squad yet.
Indeed. They're going to win the league. Coming up after this, Crystal Palace welcomed Nottingham Forest with open arms.
It must be difficult for him as well to shut out all the noise. Have you spoken to him, and is he dealing with it all okay?
It's more difficult for me, honestly. Because I also have to speak to you.
Ollie Glass.
Yes.
Palming off, so to speak, Gary Cottrell from a little while ago. Thanks to friend of the Ramble, Jimmy to the B, of course, Crystal Palace fan, and our what would you call him?
Archivist?
Archivist, yeah, sort of scorer.
FIFA. He's our FIFA.
Yes.
He's grass is what he is.
For sending us that clip, thank you very much on Discord, Jimmy to the B. You can become a friend of the Ramble too for just $5 a month. My goodness. You'll get every episode of the Ramble up front and on the continent completely ad-free, and access to the Football Ramble Discord, where you can chat with us and other Ramble listeners. And remember, if you sign up for an annual subscription before this Sunday, you will get 15% off. Search patreon.com/Football Ramble to get involved. Now then, Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1. The sort of, it was more in the stands where I don't think there was violence. I mean, but the chanting and the banner, the banner
was
strong.
detailed.
It
was very
it was
strong.
strong, wasn't it? It was emotional. It was strong.
It was
shading.
researched.
Yeah.
Incredible piece of work, Pete. I
The
mean,
banner by committee is quite a strange thing in a football stadium.
Not had a legal eye over it, one might suggest, but that's
for others to
that's
decide.
for others to decide, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the banner was displayed in the Holmesdale end, which showed Evangelos Marinakis holding a gun to Morgan Gibbs White's head. The FA have said they will investigate it.
Right.
So,
Investigate what?
I know. I love that.
It was definitely there.
Yeah.
Well, hang on.
not AI.
We need to detect. Was the gun loaded? Was it cocked?
Yeah.
It was, but you're right, Pete. It was an amazing banner from a neutral.
From a neutral.
Yeah,
He's done well there.
Yes.
He's left one in on Marinakis there, hasn't he?
If there's anything in the banner you don't understand, just Google any of the words in it. The man has backstory.
Yeah,
shall
I
we
think so.
say?
Yes.
I would say that. I mean, it was a spicy old banner, and obviously like a big fixture for the television companies.
We were all looking
great for them, isn't
We
it?
were all looking forward to it.
but they didn't even show the banner. Show the banner.
Yeah, they're not going to
Cowards.
show it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Imagine if you were the producer, go and show it.
Show the banner.
Yeah, but
show the
they-
banner a
they-
little
Show
bit.
the banner, pan to him. Where is he? He's not here. Just get a photo of him up, and we can mock our own thing.
I think Marinakis has shown he's quite effective when with what Palace fans have suggested,
Right.
That Forest
angry
played some
letters.
part, in making sure that Palace got this punishment. So I think
Right.
Sky are a bit
I'm not going to get involved.
Do you know
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's fine.
They've
It'll get
already
involved.
banned Gary Neville from this.
It'll pop up on social media. It'll get done.
A draw is an annoying result in terms of those of us neutrals who want this
know what you
rivalry
mean.
to
Yeah.
really,
I
really
know what you mean.
explode. I think it might be one of those things that just sort of carries on forever, sort of like Brighton and Palace. And
Yeah.
years down the line, it's like, why do they hate each other again?
Yeah.
And this could be the beginning of a beautifully hateful relationship.
There's enough.
And-
There's enough of it.
Yes.
There's enough there.
But I think it's been said about Palace, though, despite losing Eze, and we'll come to Mark Gay in a moment, it does look like they're going to continue the good feeling under Glasner and all that and carry it into this season. He did say that they're going to need some signings. With Forest, so far in the league, you think, okay, they're going well. Oh, hang on, what's this? And suddenly it looks like Nuno could be off soon. I mean, it must be so frustrating if you're a Forest fan. At the time of recording, it hasn't happened. Pre-match, Nuno talked about his relationship with Marinakis and said, our relationship has changed. It's not so close. It's not good. Sure, a lot of people saw that. And it sounded like it sounded like he was saying, yeah, it's pretty damning. People then started saying that there's a problem with Edu and Nuno, and is Marinakis going to have to choose between one of the two?
Yeah, and people are saying that Nuno's the aggressor in that as well.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
So very odd. And then rumours if he could be sacked. Nuno said, "Well, where there's smoke, there's fire." Yeah. And then asked if he'd still be Forest manager after this month. He said, "I cannot answer that question, but what I know is that I'm working and trying to do my job the best I can. Of course, the situation has to be resolved, has to be solved." And so it does seem odd the way Nuno is kind of gone on the front foot, really, certainly in front of the cameras with this kind of thing, because normally managers are a little bit more aloof and politician-like, understandably so, but he's been as explicit, really, as a manager gets in these kind of situations and with these kind of questions.
But then his post-match on Sunday, he was talking about, it's all a bit overblown.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because you overblew
it. And because, when asked, Marinakis and the hierarchy of the club said they were baffled by Nuno's words.
Because he started a fire and started pointing at the smoke, effectively.
Well, yeah, so it's quite an extraordinary situation, really. Normally a manager wouldn't wade in with this, which is why some people were saying, is he trying to get sacked?
Yeah, but he's said that that's ridiculous, but of course he has to say that, doesn't he, in that situation? I think it's to do with the signings, isn't it? They've signed 8 players this summer. He's saying the squad's imbalanced. Some of those are really good players.
Yeah.
Apparently he doesn't want Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, I mean...
Superb player.
Well, indeed. I mean, clearly the way he wants to play and whatnot, he'll have his reasons for that. I was surprised because we were all pretty gassed for Forest fans, when Douglas Luiz was announced.
But those new players will unsettle his favourite players, won't they?
Yeah, that's
which are the players that he
that's
started with over the last 18 months.
It's all about the introduction of that kind of buffer zone between Marinakis and him that he doesn't want there. He wants to be this kind of like old school manager that manages everything, and now he's got Edu in there.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a bit paranoid, really. Because
you would be under Marinakis.
Yeah,
so.
but I think
Mega Watford, isn't it?
Mega Watford.
Yeah, it's a bit that because managers often they don't tend to like directors of football because they're a bit closer to like the owner or the chair.
Yes.
And it feels like he's already suspicious of that. So as you say, he's created this fire.
Going on the front foot with it already.
Yeah, because even at the end of the game, he went up to the Forest fans and, they were singing his name and chanting, and he was, being encouraged by some of the players to go off and get this ovation. So there's clearly a bit of politicking going on both sides. And certainly Nuno, he's more front-facing because he does, 2 press conferences a week.
Yeah.
And we see him on the touchline. So I suppose he's we see that a bit more and we're seeing his side of it. But yeah, it doesn't sound particularly great.
Yeah, it doesn't really, does it? Right then, let's move on to Hill Dickinson Stadium, where Everton beat Brighton 2-0. They got off to a perfect start at that shiny new home. It does look great.
It looks brilliant.
I obviously haven't been there. I mean, I've been to the area. I know exactly where it is in Liverpool because it's painfully obvious. It's but the way that you see the stadium and the fans walking out, I just thought, I'd love. I must get up there at some point soon because the setting looks great.
I don't think I've ever seen a stadium like this before that actually looks like the artist's impression of
Yeah.
stadiums.
Yes.
It looks
Yeah,
like really
they've-
futuristic.
Looks like
and-
they've nailed it. Apparently there were long queues for the bars and all.
Right.
Get those self-pouring pint things.
Yeah.
You know the ones?
But don't they pour from underneath though?
Yes.
So if you got a habit of fiddling with your pint glass, then you spill beer all over yourself.
Well, stop fiddling
Don't do
away.
it. Stop fiddling with your pint glass.
Yeah, exactly, Jim.
If you're anxious, have another pint.
Well, you're going to have to because you poured the last one all over your shoes.
Have a drinking pint for when you're drinking.
There you go. Anyway, maybe they were only selling yards of ale, so it's taken ages. It's like stop doing that. Just get on the shots and get on with it.
Imagine
Get on with the game.
someone carrying like 4 yards of ale for his face in one of those holders.
Shots would make more sense.
Yeah.
Shots.
Yeah.
At football matches
Just have 'em lined up.
Yeah, I love it. Pete's
Can you
agreement.
Have 'em
imagine
lined up,
football
yeah.
fans taking shots?
There's a man who doesn't drink. Shots would make more
Shots
sense.
make more
at
sense,
football
yeah.
matches.
Get their tequila. No, because you can't be in the ground, as in the stands, to with drinking pints, can
Yeah.
you?
No.
You got to do them outside, so people would probably do them quite quick.
And you could have people walking around with the little trays, actually, like you do in nightclubs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The queues would go quicker. People would drink more responsibly. And
That's why shots are so popular. People are like, I just want a little bit. Actually.
Yeah, just had a little drink, actually, yeah.
Can I have a concentrated version of that?
No, but it would be like, in Italy, where if you, not that I drink coffee or anything, but, with the espresso kind of culture, you go in, pay, dump down it, and off you go.
You've got such a beautiful view of the world, don't you?
Yeah. It's exactly the same as that, Mark.
I'm just saying, if I want a Fanta, I've got to queue up with all these piss heads.
Imagine
get your shots down. That's what you want. Get in
the
back in your seats.
espresso bar setting of someone going up, like, looking like a real flash dandy, going up for a shot, and sometimes they'll have like a little cookie or something. Just a small little line with your shot, and then off you go on with your day for 10 minutes. I mean, that's basically the setting
you're envisioning.
Yeah.
I have a friend who, when we were much younger, she didn't really like the taste of any alcohol, and for financial reasons, because of deals that were on in the various kind of pubs and bars around town, she would start the night with like 4 or 5 shots of tequila.
Right.
And she'd be like, I'll just get all my drinking done now. It saves me money. And then I'm,
rolling
full of
stomach
energy and stuff like
night.
that. Yeah. And then obviously the rest of us, we're like 2 sips into our first pints and she's hammered. Just immediately like an absolute liability. And everyone would do that. Yeah. Everyone would do that just before the game and at half time.
And could you rule out, because if I go in and I'm drinking some Calpol from a little cup,
yes,
that's allowed from view. I can I can have a bit of ibuprofen gel in my mouth, and then, but like, it would be confusing if you're allowed to. I reckon you could get away with shots in view of the actual pitch, because there's actually not that much drinking in it, is there?
Get a slippery nipple down, you man.
Slippery nipple.
Anyway, Everton, despite the queues for the bar, they enjoyed themselves, beating Brighton 2-0. Iliman Ndiaye is now a quiz answer, isn't he? Scored the last goal at Goodison Park, the first goal at Hill Dickinson. And he very much enjoyed it, which is great. And it was a lovely goal. It sort of pinged off his body. And the assist was by that man, Jack Grealish. Vish.
It was a very England 2021 assist, wasn't it?
Germany.
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it?
Cutting on the left. Oh, he's only right-footed. No, he's not.
Oh, he can ping that ball across.
It's a bit of a swinger, but he will hit it really hard at you.
Yeah. Go on, Harry or Illiman, get on the end of that.
Yeah. It was really nice. Did you see his interview at the end of the game, where he was chatting with the interviewer with Ndiaye as well, and he said that Moyes has not trained us together. They've not been on the same training team. Oh, right. So he was like, but we want to play together more. And he was like, yeah, we should, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? And I was like, yeah, it was great. It was so good.
Lovely.
It's a really lovely moment as well, yeah. We spoke before about like new stadium, you need someone who can stand up to that responsibility. Yeah, a bit of Stardust. And that was it on opening night.
Well, indeed. If he just carries on like this, he's going to be a cult hero for them, And at the age of 29, it's not ridiculous to think if he has a good season, he enjoys himself there, that you think to yourself, do you know what? Actually, after that,
I'll pay the 40 million myself.
There we go. There we go, Peter. And that's just David Moyes talking.
What's so nice about it, I think, as well, is
that it's early days.
Well, it's early days, but we've not.
Early days.
It's been a while since we've seen him play regularly for City, but he immediately now looks like the sort of calm, responsible leader rather than the boy wonder who's just aged a little bit. He looks like a senior figure, and he's going to be that reference point for all of that team. And they're quietly putting together a quite exciting squad. Obviously, Tyler Dibbling looks like he's coming in. Yeah. Dewsbury Hall's a good player, and so just 3 players who play with their socks rolled down there. That's enjoyable straight away.
That is enjoyable.
That's really good.
Vibes,
bit of a
definitely.
Links with Nathan Ake as well, which would be a really good signing if they can get that over the line.
Yeah, I think with Grealish though, I mean, obviously the attention's going to be there, and I know Sky Sports had him down as man of the match, but I think Moyes gave him a lot of praise after the game, and he also said, he's given him license to take on players. You saw that with the first assist, great to see. But also he spoke about Grealish's ball retention and the calmness, and also just driving forward with it. And those are the things, actually, to hark back to Grealish not getting into the Euro 2024 squad. I think a lot of players were a bit like, well, hang on. Why have you done this now, Sir Gareth? Because Grealish it takes that responsibility with the ball. If you just need a bit of pressure taken off the defence and someone to just get it, and but also if given license to go and take somebody on, he can provide those moments. And I think Everton are going to benefit from that enormously, because with Everton, sometimes, when you're playing against a better opponent, you can be pinned back in your own half. Moyes often accused of being a little bit too negative or defensively, or defensive. And you even saw that at Leeds, it's particularly in the first half, for crying out loud. But with Grealish in there, he is that type of player that can ease that pressure and get you up the pitch a bit more. They'll benefit from him. And the important thing is, as he has done for the vast majority of his playing career, by the way, looks like he's got the bit between his teeth and he's going to roll his sleeves up and roll his socks down and get involved. He revealed after the game that David Moyes convinced him to join over FaceTime, which is quite nice.
Yeah, a lovely little detail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that weird, is it? But
yeah. Do you think Moyes just went to call him and he pressed the wrong button? He was, oh, well, you're here now.
But he was on holiday, wasn't he? And someone, I think Alan Stubbs
he wanted to
was
check
involved.
up on him.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I'm FaceTiming him just to see where you
some
are and
more-
what you're
Is
doing.
that- sorry.
Is that Wayne Lineker?
Jack, is that a pint? No, I'm just doing shots. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
See you later.
I've just popped into an espresso bar.
The intriguing thing to come will be because it's Jack Grealish, he's immediately going to get a lot of attention from opposition players.
Yep.
And it would be how Everton deal with that if they decide to flood Grealish aside and not give him any space.
Or just
then
lay it off to James Garner.
simple as. Yeah. Sorry, what was I worried about? Continue.
What a hit that was.
Yeah.
Come
brilliant.
on. Brilliant. That was class.
Excellent.
I love the fact that... is that where you're going with that?
Yeah.
I love the fact that everyone was talking about the 2 assists, and I was like, Garner did a lot of the work for that. He really, really did. But Brighton missed chances, though, in the game. Did they not, Vish? Danny Welbeck.
Yeah. Really, really should have been putting that away.
He was rather annoyed, though, that the ball wasn't the best pass.
No,
he
it
could
wasn't.
receive for
Yeah,
the
it
one
was
he hit over the
slightly
bar.
behind him, wasn't he? So maybe it's not fair on him that he should have put that away. That was a really, really big chance. Obviously, Jordan Pickford saved a penalty as well. It's not been a brilliant start for Brighton. They should have beaten Fulham, really. And look, they'll be okay. But I think Brighton fans want to hit the ground running a bit more because, last season, I think they grew into the season more. And had they have done that a bit earlier, they may have been challenging more for European places. But great start, though, to that new stadium. They get a couple of goals, one of them a beauty, and Pickford saves a penalty. Coming up after this, West Ham got a Friday night gubbing. Yeah, sorry, West Ham fans, but we are going to talk about it. West Ham United 1, Chelsea 5. They were 1-0 up, though. They were.
Yeah.
And what a goal it was.
Lovely goal.
It was a decent hit, it's fair to say, from Paquetá.
It was. I mean, people might say the keeper might have done a touch better, but still, from Paquetá's point of view, it was a great goal. But
Really, well, it was like a nice training ground move that they excelled at.
Yeah.
when that goal went in, I thought, bloody hell, that's what you need. You saw the stadium, first goal of the season.
Yeah.
Can't even bring yourself to defend.
Also,
And then it
can, yeah.
and then it unfolded as it did.
but so obviously, Chelsea scored pretty soon after that from a corner. First of 3 goals from a corner. More on that in a bit. But then West Ham scored again. With a really fractionally offside decision. I knew when Nicholas Füllkrug was doing a silly little dance, that's getting chalked off. Absolutely, that is just how reality works. That is definitely getting chalked off. But then, as you say, it was a gubbing, and 34 minutes into the first home game of the season, people are leaving. By the hour mark, an angry fan has tried to get on the pitch. It's this is not the continuation of the feeling from last season that anybody wanted there. And
Moyes has got a happy job at the moment. So
he's not going to
can't
come
go
back and
back.
sort
You
it
know
back
who
out.
Allardyce is about? But
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, man.
I mean,
Do you know Sean Dyche is circling? The
Yeah.
Sean Dyche wagons are circling right
he
now.
loves claret and blue.
But I mean, we've all done our predictions for who's going to be the first manager to go. But, Graham Potter looks a really, really good candidate for the first manager to lose his job because I think he's got 9 points from his first 10 Premier League home games now, which is the fewest for a manager in West Ham's history. And obviously part of the problem goes way beyond him.
Yeah.
The squad is
board.
terrible.
The squad's not great, and the board don't seem to listen to their managers ever. They seem to think they know better, do what they can, try to, in terms of trying to sort of save money and cut corners. And it is really, really messy there. And it was just so poor from them. Conceding 3 goals from corners, I think, has to be on the manager, though, right?
Well, yeah, they just look very soft. And that image of Potter, when you can see the fans pouring out behind him and if the focus on him, on a human level, you've got to feel sorry for the guy because how lonely and awful must it feel when that's happening to your team. He's had time. That's the thing. I know they've made a few signs. They haven't made many, and it's and they're annoyed about that, a lot of West Ham fans. but Manchester United have improved under Amorim this season already.
With a load of money spent, though.
With a load of money spent, you're absolutely right, Peter, and it's important to make that point. But there are signs of improvement. We'll see. I don't think that, again, early days. With West Ham, this is a continuation of last season, and that is the worry when you don't see any kind of improvement. And like we said against Sunderland, barely a ball had been kicked in that second half, and you think, is this just another season where it's like, oh crap, we've got to get somebody in to try and steady the ship? Last season, when Potter was signed, when he went there, I remember thinking, okay, I see what they're trying to do maybe for the longer term, because the bottom three was just so poor. Yeah. They were never going to get relegated. You can't do that this season and go, well, we should be okay. The promoted sides are looking and thinking, who can we reel in? West Ham are definitely won now.
West Ham and Wolves are the only teams to have lost their first two games.
And it's all, I mean, look, again, it's just so soft. I mean, when Trevor Chalobah scored on 58 minutes, it was, they are so firmly beaten. It was like they're playing, a side divisions below them in the FA Cup, and it's like, we're just enjoying it, taking it easy. That's a Premier League fixture.
Yeah. Cole Palmer was kind of injured in the warm-up as well, so you've not even got their most creative player there.
Yeah, I mean, apparently at full time, there was like 4,000 or 5,000 fans left in the home end, people were saying.
The only reason
it's understandable though.
No,
it
is understandable. I'm not criticising that. I'm just saying
the only reason you're staying is to boo.
Yeah. Well, or just I'm meeting my mates a little bit later. So, what do you do? It's
I'm going to the shopping centre next door. Going to go on that big slide.
There you go. But it's just so shit. and for a side who won the Europa Conference League a couple of years ago, good run in the Europa League and so on, you think, right, kick on. That is all just distant.
They've just
now.
jettisoned too many decent players, haven't they? And they just haven't replaced them in any sort of any sort of quality.
See, that's the problem as well. And actually, it's not even always the players that are particularly good they're not replacing. So Edson Alvarez is a really interesting kind of case in point in this. So I think he's on about 115 grand a week. So he's gone on loan to Fenerbahce now. He came in as a part of the replacement for Declan Rice, started quite well. Then it kind of went awry a bit, and his performances were a bit lackluster. He fell out with I think Moyes, and I think then Potter as well. So he's gone out the door. That's handy in getting him off the wage bill, but you look at those owners and think they're going to get a decent replacement in? No. The profile of player that he is, maybe not the reality of the type of player he's been for them, is exactly what they were missing the other night.
I'll tell you how bad it is for West Ham. Looking at the fixtures, I quickly thought, when are Fulham playing them? And I went, end of December or something like that. And I was a bit annoyed because that's 3 points sitting there. Yeah. That's how crap it is.
Yeah.
And is it going to get any better right now under this current manager? I'm not sure. I think it's very unlikely. And so they are going to have to make a decision at some point, you would imagine, unless it miraculously starts to turn around. And the decision is, do you go for someone who you want to be a bit more progressive, or do you quite literally go for Sean Dyche and go, well, we just need to stay up now? It's so depressing, that West Ham at the moment. Good win for Chelsea, though.
Yeah,
I mean, they hadn't scored, of course, in the league in the first game, and they got 5 of the buggers.
Yeah, and I think one of the focuses they've been talking about is being better at set pieces. And obviously, they get 3 there. Esteval, what a debut! I know he made a mistake that led to the Paquetá goal, but he's going to have that. He's 18, but he looks a really, really bright talent, as we were kind of all expecting.
Shame he didn't give Reece James an early contender for assist of the season.
Oh my God, yeah, that was absolute sort of laser guided pinpoint through ball. It was brilliant. We've seen a few of those, like the Elliot Anderson one against Brentford. But this one would have probably been even better had he finished it off.
Unbelievable.
Really, really good. They look really strong, and obviously there's potentially Garnacho and Xavi Simons to come as well. Simons, don't know.
Yeah.
I'll just say it differently every time.
Yeah. Chelsea are the world champions. They are the world champions, Jim.
They are. They're the world champions and the Europa Conference League champions as well.
Yes, they're shifting even more players this week. Apparently, Axel Disasi shared a picture of the Chelsea rejectees dressing room on his Instagram, which
the bomb squad.
The bomb squad. Yeah, it looked a thoroughly depressing thing, but some of those players will probably be moved on. And if you're in that dressing room, tiny little room,
it's really small. It looks like it reminds you that there's still footballers getting changed in changing rooms. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, that looks like a changing room I would get changed in.
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it?
But I mean,
that looks like it hurts to sit on.
They are trying to push them out the door.
Definitely.
That's what's going on.
It also just looks like a pure gym.
Yeah.
I'm like, why have you got your boots on, lads? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Before we move on very quickly to the National League, we've got to mention Burnley. They got a win. They got a bloody win. It was too early to call it a must-win match. But the fact is, we uttered the word must-win match, suggested it was an important one. They beat Sunderland 2-0.
It's a long week. They needed to carry that momentum into the next match.
They needed something. Yeah. So it means that all three promoted sides have won in their first two games for the first time since the 2016-17 season, which is terrible news for the likes of West Ham.
But it's good news in general, right?
Yeah.
It
Completely
suggests
agree.
a bucking of the trend. I know it's extremely early. There are 36 games to go.
Yeah.
But that's welcome.
You'd have to have a heart of stone or support a particular club to not want Burnley.
Yeah.
Blackburn Rovers, that's the club you're thinking of.
Correct, yeah. I couldn't think of it off the top of my head.
Or the other two
Yeah.
clubs who might go down.
Indeed. It's a great win for them. Nice to see Scott Parker having a moment, celebrating away in his finery. Nice for Josh Cullen to score a nice little curler in the corner. Got an assist as well for Anthony, who finished well when he knew he was going to have to lift it. But when that happens, we've seen them go over the bar. But when it caught
Inviting.
the top of the net and the whole stadium erupted, I thought, it was lovely. Lovely, lovely. Right then. I'd like to finish by talking about Morecambe. They got a win.
Yes.
They got a win.
They still exist.
They still
I
exist.
mean, that's the first thing to celebrate, isn't it?
Being bought out on the brink of extinction. They completed an incredible week with a 2-1 win against Altrincham. The first game of the season after their opening 3 fixtures were suspended. That's how bloody bad it was. A 98th minute winner by Daniel Ogwuru. He signed for them the night before. So just
Roy Uppendorf stuff.
A little bit, yeah. So a mention for Morecambe because obviously they... we mentioned them the other week in the dire situation, which they seem to have got out of now. And to get a first win with a 98th minute winner, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
With an assistant that's never had a professional footballing job.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
There you go. Unless you're a fan of, Morecambe City, you would have...
Wise Town.
Very good,
Not
Jim.
a fan of the Sikhs
Yeah.
for some reason.
If you spent your weekend painting a flag on the floor.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Weekends.
Oh, they're much quicker than that. Anyway, let's get out of here. Thanks very much for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast Creator Network. Myself and Jim are back tonight for the first Ramble Reacts of the season, and it's straight after Newcastle United versus Liverpool. Ooh. It promises to be a belcher.
It will. Apparently, he's actually going to be in the stadium.
Make him turn up.
Make him turn
But
up.
which shirt is he wearing?
Oh,
He's carrying a T4. Oh, God. Oh, God. He's drawn a very good Kalashnikov there. Lovely.
That mean he's staying because of the Andy
Is
Cole
that-
photo
Yeah,
with the
it was a
Kalashnikov.
tribute to Andy Cole. It's Kalashnikov.
there you are.